Talks. I am very excited about our guest today. Elizabeth, welcome to the table.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. I always like to start out interviews sharing with my audience. Can you share a little bit about who you are, where you're located? Because I'm sure much of my audience has picked up a little bit of an accent. And then who do you serve?
Right. Thank you so much. I'm Elizabeth Solaru. I'm based in London, UK. And a little bit about me, I started my life as a microbiologist and I worked with what we call our National Health Service for several years. And then I made a career change and became a headhunter. And after doing that for several years as well, 2008, the market tanked and I lost my job. And with £40 and a second-hand mixer, I started my cake business. And through a round of events, I ended up making cakes for celebrities, ultra high net worths. I was flown around the world and I got introduced to a different kind of life of luxury clients and how to deal with them, etc., etc. And that led to me curating everything I know about this group of clients. And I've written a book called The Luxpreneur, and that's why we're here today.
Yeah, awesome. I do, because I definitely want to dive in. One of the reasons that we connected was because a lot of women entrepreneurs that I work with, you know, creating a price point and charging is a big friction point, and the fact that you are really intentional and create high ticket offers and encourage others to create high ticket offers is something that I think is important for my audience to hear about. So, how, a lot of entrepreneurs, they feel like pivots can be failures, but what I see a lot is it's just spokes on the same wheel. At the heart of what they're doing is the same. It's just being manifested in different ways. Do you feel that way about, your business, from science and cakes to coaching and writing your book, things like that?
Yeah, I think everything that you've ever done in life, everything, right from when you're a child, school, everything, leads you to wherever you are right now. But it also has a huge impact on mindset.
Mm,
So when it comes to, as you rightly said, women entrepreneurs wanting to charge, wanting to pivot, it's all to do with mindset. For the most part, and I would say for the most clients that I see that are female, and most clients that I interviewed as a headhunter, female in particular, women in particular, they are already more than qualified. It's a no brainer. However, the mindset seems to be completely different. So, with what I find is people need to have the right mindset, and that starts with truly knowing who you are, faults and all, good, bad, ugly. Embrace who you are and don't try to apologize for who you are because you are who you are. Apologize for dreadful behavior. Apologize for not knowing your boundaries. Things you've done. But who you are as a person and who you want to be as an entrepreneur. Never, ever, ever apologize for that because in the world I deal with, people are sensitive to the slightest hesitation because the more you hesitate about your product, the more people start to not have any confidence in what you're offering. I liken it as if you are not feeling well and you go to your doctor and your doctor says, well, I only finished, I didn't finish first in my class. I barely passed ophthalmology. Microbiology was so tough for me. That is what you get sometimes with a lot of women entrepreneurs. They already apologize for not being the best at a particular skill rather than say, I'm amazing and I'm going to give you the most value that you've ever had in your life.
hmm So, what I have seen is that can be a big jump of like I'm here and I can say it, but I don't truly believe it to having the confidence. So how would you suggest women make that leap? I don't think it's all in, it's not like you're going to wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm the most confident person in the world, but small incremental ways that we can improve our mindset. What tips would you give on that?
Oh, I'm going to let you in on a secret. Oh my God. If only people knew this. Even the people you see, even those chief execs and everyone you see, they all have moments of fear. I don't truly believe that. Yes, some people, by their very nature, disposition, gender, culture, family they were raised in, they will have more confidence than others. But I promise you, I have not met one person who goes, yep, I'm absolutely 1,000% confident about XYZ. But the one thing they've learned to do is to make those leaps with the fear, with being scared, with not knowing what the outcome is going to be. Because sometimes I feel that as women, because we need to look after, we need to feel safe and we need to feel secure, and because we have this inbuilt radar, we try to make sure that everything is, the odds are stacked in our favor to begin with. So it's not just about making the leap. We want to make sure that the safety net is padded. We want to make sure that the safety net, it's dead center. So we do all this prep. So I'm not saying don't do the prep, but I'm saying the longer it takes for you to leap, the more insurmountable it looks. So if you have to leap, do a little leap. So for example, when I was doing first started my cake business, I was trying so hard to settle in the mid-market, despite the fact that a lot of my clients were saying your products are high end. I didn't even know what high end meant. I was trying so hard to fit into the middle market. And then 2013, I just said to myself, you know what? This is not sustainable. Yes, I had so many orders, but I wasn't making any money. And the more orders I made, the more money I wasn't making. So
Mhm,
overnight, I literally tripled my prices
mm,
and I lost 80% because I'd go from winning 90% to losing 80%. But what I needed to do was lose that percentage that was not giving me value, and then find ways of getting more of the 20% that I really, really wanted. So
mhm.
imagine losing a lot of people overnight. And it was not easy. But I tell you this, I'm so glad I did that, because the one thing a high price signifies to people is value. Because whether we like it or not, although I always say not everything expensive is luxury, but by the very nature, everything luxury tends to be expensive. I didn't realize that my ideal clients were thinking I was too cheap. They were thinking, where's the catch? Where is the catch?
Yeah.
Because if your cakes are this beautiful and it's only costing X, where's the catch? And I even had someone say, until the wedding day, actually it was a couple, the wife believed me, the husband didn't, because he was like, nope, until I see it. And when they saw the cake, they were like, whoa, we can't believe we got that for what we paid you. So again, we live and learn. So it's not easy, but you just have to do it and wait and be patient and wait.
Mhm. Yeah. So when you talk about the safety net, what comes to mind for me, because I've been on this journey of really focusing on the sales process for my community, because I think a lot of women have these incredible products and they feel very sticky in the sales process. Part of what feels sticky is hearing no, facing rejection. And it sounds like you faced a lot of rejection when you made that pivot. And so I think some of the safety net is building the mindset around hearing no and saying, okay, I'm hearing no from you. My ideal client is out there. That's not you. And so how would you say to someone who is still has a lot of fear around rejection, what would you talk to them about?
Oh my God, this is such a brilliant question, I swear, because this is the problem. It's a mindset issue when it comes to rejection, because your mind is there to keep you safe and alive, right? That is the job of the mind. So anything that doesn't make you feel safe, your mind rejects. So rejection is actually one of the best ways. It's the currency. I call it the currency of greatness. It's the currency of success, because the more you are rejected, the more you're building that resiliency, and
Mm,
the quicker. Because when I was I'll give you an example. When I was a headhunter, every week, whether we like it or not, we had to make 100 calls, 100 phone calls, and these were cold calls to the PAs of chief executives, because we want to get meetings in their diary. So you can imagine what a chief exec of a Fortune 200, whatever, FTSE 100 company will not just have one PA, they would have maybe three PAs, right? So I started getting rejections because I don't know anyone, obviously. But then I discovered one thing: the PA that I needed was a diary PA, the person who controlled the diary. So that reduced my rejections from 95% to 90%, because my company expected us to get 90% rejections. That was normal. But it was the
mhm.
10%, that was where the magic lied. So I reduced mine from 95 to 90 just by discovering that the person who controls the diary. And then I then discovered another trick. Rather than sell, oh, I want a meeting, blah, 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 as my colleagues would do, I found another way. Make my problem the problem of the PA, of the executive assistant, asking them for advice. What would you suggest I do? Making it their problem. So my point is, rejection was such an amazing learning curve, because it's not the no, right? It's an okay, no, we're not buying from you. But then think about why was that? And I know some people say you've got to overcome objections. I really do not believe in that, and I tell you why. Because it's not a battle of wills. In luxury, this is someone who can afford anything. Your high ticket clients, they can afford to buy wherever. So you trying to convince them is actually the worst thing ever. The best thing to do, and I do this a lot, is to receive it, thank them, say, walk away, literally just walk away. And then in a couple of months, let them know how well you are doing. Let them know that, oh, by the way, I landed a client even bigger than you, but you do
Mhm.
it in a really polite way. You let them see that you're oozing success, even if you don't feel like it, even if you're not. And guess what happens? They will come back.
Mhm.
So that rejection, for me personally, I don't take it personally. In fact, when I reach out to people to do collaborations, about, I would say 9 out of 10 would say no, and I expect that, and then
Mhm.
one would say yes. So again, 90% rejection is actually quite good for a high ticket client, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. The most important thing is that you then apply what I call the 80/20 rule.
Mhm.
Once you've acquired that client, you make sure you do everything to retain them, because it's easier to retain a client that you have than it is to go out and find a new one, especially luxury clients. So
Mhm.
that's the only thing I would say around that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love all of this. In one of my earlier episodes, I talked about like in baseball, because I'm a big baseball fan. And if you are a batter and you're successful 3 out of 10 times, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
And
wow.
yet people will, start to sell and they see rejection and they're like, well, this is just, I'm a failure. And they take it very personally. And so I love what you said about resiliency. And um, I don't think that you would have known that about the PA who keeps the diary
No,
unless you made hundreds and hundreds of phone
that's
calls,
right.
got rejected
Yeah.
hundreds of times, and so you had to try. You weren't just going to know that just before you started,
No.
so you couldn't have been prepared. You just had to put yourself out there before you learned that lesson.
Absolutely. And also, when it comes to putting yourself out there, remember, um, there's a saying that somebody used to say, it's not going to be written on your forehead that you were rejected 25 times or a gazillion times. It's not tattooed on your head. You're
Yeah.
not walking it, don't walk around with it. Just walk around and say, okay, you know what? They freed me to give somebody else the opportunity. Because all it is that you are
Mm,
offering them an opportunity to work with you, and if they would rather not, then that's fine. You just move on to somebody else and give them the opportunity. Because even in life right now, I mean, I get many people sliding into my DMs trying to sell me stuff. And I can tell you, 90 something percent of the time, I would say no. Even when I'm interested, I might get distracted by something else. So it's not personal half the time. So
mm,
we just need to learn to put ourselves out there. And to be fair, again, when I was a headhunter, I found that the candidates who were successful, they don't just apply for the one job. They would apply for multiple jobs, and another thing that they did was that way before they needed a job, way before, they would start the process of talking to headhunters, looking for other jobs, having regular lunches, having regular dinners, going to executive networking groups. So they were putting themselves out there. So it's a matter of you just putting yourself out there, risking rejection, and more importantly, risking ridicule. Because it's not even the rejection sometimes, it's, oh my God, I don't want people to make fun of me. Oh my God, I don't want them to see me as a failure. Who cares?
yeah.
People only remember the successes. Nobody will remember your past failures. If you win once and you win a big contract and you splash it all over the place, that's all people remember.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. And so to pivot, I see your book behind you. So I have a couple questions on that. And first is like, who who is the book for? Like, what types of questions is the ideal person for, the ideal reader for your book? What types of questions are they struggling with? What do they want to learn about? Tell me about the ideal reader for your book.
Okay, I actually listed it in my book, and if I remember correctly, so the people out there who want to serve the high, maybe they want a high ticket client, they want to serve them, but they don't even know where to find them. That's number one. Number two, you want to serve the high ticket clients, and you have a vague idea of where they are, but you want to learn how to attract them. Number three, you're already attracting them. They're already maybe sniffing around, inquiring, but they're not buying. So you don't even know how to convert them. That's number three. And number four, maybe you've had them in the past, but for some reason you've lost them and you don't know why they're not coming back.
Mhm.
So there's some of the people that I find the book would really, really help, because the book gets into the mindset of the different types of high ticket clients, because there isn't just the one type. And that's the mistake that many people make. Oh my God, people with money, but they're not a monolith. They are different people. So
Mhm.
yeah, those are the types of clients.
That's amazing. So we're coming up on, the holiday season, and one of like the big I was talking with my podcast producer yesterday about like our different Black Friday specials, and she's like, "Can you ask Elizabeth when you interview her this question?" And like how, she's like, "I'm already charging a certain amount, and if I discount too much, like you said when you were making the cakes, you were going to start to lose money." And so as the luxpreneur, how do you wrangle having a Black Friday like sale or that type of time of the year to bring in more clients with having kind of that luxury price tag?
Brilliant question. And I tell you why. Because in luxury, they do this all the time. They do special offers all the time, but they don't call it discounting. They don't call it special offers. So this is what they do. So even for Christmas or Black Friday or whatever, you would find that when you go to certain stores at a particular time of the year, you will have a perfume set that retails for maybe you might have, instead of paying $120 for all three, you might pay only $60 or something like that. Now that is actually a special offer, but you'll never see discount X% of, you'll never see that. So what you need to do is be strategic. So I never discount, but what I do is I give extras. So instead of me saying 50% off, I would say something like, if you book your wedding cake with me, you will get your first anniversary cake from me. So a year later, I'll make you a mini version of whatever the cake I made, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I literally will add things, but I'll never say, oh, get your Black Friday special, get your something special. Now that is me, because what I do is of that nature. However, you can borrow from the big luxury brands. They have three different price levels. So the first one is at very bottom of the pyramid. You've got your lipsticks, your perfumes, your small accessories. If I save up for a month, I can get that. Then the next level are the bags, the shoes, etc., etc., watches. If I save up for a year or maybe 2 years, I can buy that. And then the third level is couture. But the problem is, a lot of people have couture products and they want to discount the couture products. But the magic really happens at the bottom level. So it could be something like, so for example, me, because I have another book, I have a book I've written about cakes. I've also got a couple of courses. So I can say something like, if you want to spend some time with me to learn blah, 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 I am, as my gift to you, I will be giving you XYZ. I will never ever say I'm giving you 50% off or blah, blah, because what luxury brands do is they either they give for free, or they charge full price with certain things. So, and I've also noticed that if they want the high-end clients to buy, what do? They do dinner parties. They do a shed load. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you, shed load of dinner parties or lunches or special events. And what do? They give away products. And what products do they give? They give the beauty products, the fairly not too expensive. They give those products away, or they collaborate with another brand. And again, both brands, they leverage the whatever. And what they also do is they invite a couple of influencers, or a couple of, to give it a bit of glam, make sure it looks all nice and blah, blah, blah. So my point is, you need to find a way to create something like that in your community. And you need to say to them, okay, Black Friday is coming, holidays are coming. As my gift to this community, you will have access to blah, blah, blah for 2 days, for 3 days, for 7 days. That's it. And then you close that access. So it's about access, it's about community, but never ever use the words discount, special offer, blah, blah, blah. Because a luxury client would say, if you're discounting now, I paid full price. Why did you make me pay full price? So let's think about different ways, as opposed to just discount, discount, discount all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it sounds like from both perspectives, both you as someone who is selling a luxury product as well as the consumer, it's a big mindset. Um, you have to be very intentional about the words you're using for the different mindsets, both for yourself and for the consumer.
Oh, absolutely. Because the consumer will believe, to some extent, as long as there's a bit of proof, they would literally believe what you say.
Mm-hmm.
They would believe, you can literally say anything about your brand, as long as you can back it up, people will believe it. And I'm thinking, so why not use those words to promote whatever it is you're doing positively?
Mm,
So, for example, there's a luxury brand called Jackie Moose. They're opening a store in London, and they're saying, drop in our store, come and have a cup of tea with us. They're not saying free tea. They're
mhm,
not saying we're giving away free blah blah. They're just saying come in and let's host you. Let's so again the choice of words will
mhm.
that it does something to the mind and to the brain where
Yeah,
you're thinking, oh, free tea, nah, rather than, oh, I'm having a cup of tea in this posh store. So
yeah,
again, let's think about the experience a bit more.
yeah, yeah. I could talk forever. I have so many more questions, but we are running up on time. So, Elizabeth, are you ready for our lightning round questions?
Yes, I
All right. Question number one. What is a must read book for you?
Oh, a must-read business book for me is a book called Luxury Strategy, and there's a chapter about luxury marketing that is classic. So yeah,
Mm,
Luxury Strategy.
awesome. What does creativity mean to you?
Oh, that's a good one. Creativity means giving myself, so outpouring of me. So it's seeing myself in something.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, one word, leave. I
Oh,
remember when I was a microbiologist, it was a horrible environment. Was a whinger. I would whinge. And somebody just turned to me and said, leave. And I made every excuse as to why I couldn't leave. I ended up leaving, but it just reset my brain. Sometimes you just need someone to be blunt with you and say, you can do something about it. So I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, especially like following kind of your story of scientist, headhunter, baker, author. Those those all took you leaving someplace to find the next iteration of yourself.
Ah, I never thought of it that way. I like that.
Yeah. What is something that's on your bucket list?
Oh, in my bucket list. Oh, plenty. And it always has to do with travel. So I definitely would love to see more of the world. There are certain parts of the world I'd like to travel to. I'd love to maybe do a cruise,
Mm,
um, stay in certain hotels, eat certain foods. So yeah, travel. That is on my
travel.
bucket list. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you ever find yourself in the luxurious upstate New York, that's where I
My best friend lives in New York, so you never know.
Awesome. And last question, what is the coolest shit you've done in the last year or are currently working on?
The coolest.
The coolest thing you've done in the past year or are
Oh,
currently working on?
it definitely has to be my book because it
Yeah.
was a labor of love, putting everything I'd learned over the last 20 years into a book. Books are not easy to write. And, second guessing yourself and worrying. And again, it goes back to, oh my God, what if people say my book is rubbish? All that rejection, all that. But then I had to work through that.
Mhm.
I worked through it. And I'm like, even if all I get are the nastiest, stankiest reviews, I would be grateful because it means I made an impact. I would rather write the book and get terrible reviews than go to my grave knowing I should have written the book and I didn't. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's awesome. Awesome. Where can people find you? Where do you show up most on like social media, your website? Share with us where people can connect with you.
Uh, Best place for me is LinkedIn because every day I post about luxury and how you can apply it to your own small business. So every day, so LinkedIn is my favorite. Elizabeth Solaru, you can find me, connect with me, email me and you can also email me at Elizabeth at luxurybusinessemporium.com. And you can find my book, The Luxpreneur, on Amazon.
Perfect. Awesome. We'll make sure to put all of that in the show notes so people can find those things, those links easily. But thank you so much for chatting with us today. This was such a great conversation. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate being on your platform. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I feel the conversation ended too soon.
I know. It always does go so fast. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we hit record and then all of a sudden I'm looking down. I'm like, oh, we're at 20 minutes, and I feel I have like six more questions that I had on my list.
Oh dear.
Awesome. All right. Perfect. That was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're amazing because you didn't
Oh,
even